If you're still awake, you're exactly where you're meant to be. Welcome to Mind-Bending Mysteries. My name is Tammy, and before we begin our journey tonight, a necessary disclaimer. We are discussing intense personal accounts of sleep disturbances and unexplained sightings. Now, these stories can be unsettling, and the theories presented are based on global folklore and current medical perspectives as of May 2026. Now, this content is for entertainment and educational purposes, and if you are struggling with severe sleep issues, please consult a medical professional. Now, imagine this. You've had a long day, you crawl into bed, turn off the lights, and drift off to sleep. But suddenly, you're wide awake. You try to roll over, but you can't. You try to lift your hand to your face, but your body feels like it's made of solid stone. You are completely paralyzed. And then you realize you aren't alone. In the corner of your room, a shadow moves. It's darker than the darkness around it. It's tall, it's silent, and it's watching you. Now tonight, we are exploring a phenomenon that has terrified humanity for thousands of years. Now, whether you call it a glitch in the brain or a visitor from another world, we are diving into the mystery of sleep paralysis and the shadow people. And if you've never heard of these terms before, get comfortable, because once you know the details, you may never look at your bedroom the same way again. Now let's start with the basics. For those who have never heard of it, sleep paralysis is a state where your mind wakes up, but your body stays asleep. Think of it like this. When you dream, your brain is like a movie director. To keep you from acting out that movie and hurting yourself, your brain sends a signal to lock your muscles. Scientists call this REM atonia. Usually your brain turns this lock off before you wake up, but sometimes there's a lag. You wake up, your eyes are open, but the lock is still on. You are trapped inside your own body. Now, while you're trapped, your brain is in a state of high alert. It enters something called a hypnagogic state, which is a bridge between dreaming and reality. Because you are paralyzed and scared, your brain tries to find a reason for that fear. So science says your mind projects a threat into the room. It takes a shadow on the wall or a coat on a rack and turns it into a monster. They call this a hallucination. Now, if it were just a simple hallucination, that would be the end of the story. But this is where the mystery becomes truly mind-bending. If hallucinations are just random tricks of the brain, why is it that millions of people who have never met and live thousands of miles apart are all seeing the exact same things? Across every culture on Earth, there are three characters that show up in these paralyzed moments. The first one is the old hag. In places like Newfoundland and parts of Europe, victims describe a small, withered woman with leathery skin who sits on their chest and steals their breath. The second one is the hooded figure, a tall entity in a dark cloak standing silently in the doorway at the foot of the bed. And the last one is the Hat Man, and this is the most famous one. He is a tall, featureless shadow wearing a wide-brimmed hat. He doesn't attack, he just watches with an intensity that people describe as pure observation. Now think about the logic here. If you have a fever and you hallucinate, you might see spiders or your house being on fire or even a talking animal. Your brain pulls from your life. But why don't people see shadow dogs or shadow postmen? Why is it always the Hat Man? We are talking about people in remote villages who have never seen a movie or used the internet. Yet they describe the exact same man in the exact same hat that someone in a high-rise in Toronto describes. Now, this suggests that we aren't just imagining things. If 1,000 people all saw the same stranger in their house at the same time, we don't call it a trick of the mind. We call it a sighting. Now, it makes you wonder, are our brains creating these shadows, or are they finally tuning into something that is already there? And here's the most chilling part of the story. While science wants to keep this confined to the bedroom, more and more people are reporting these entities while they are wide awake. I'm talking about the corner of the eye people. You're washing dishes or walking through your hallway during the day, and you see a dark mass dart behind a door. Now, people describe these shadows as having a vibrating or jittery quality, as if they are glitching in and out of our reality. Now, this is where the stalking element comes in. Witnesses often feel they are being followed for days or weeks before a sighting. They feel a heaviness in the air, a sudden drop in temperature, and an overwhelming sense of dread. Now, when you see a shadow move in broad daylight, blocking out the light from a window, the sleep excuse doesn't work anymore. You are being watched by something that doesn't follow the laws of our physics. So what do people really think these things are? Well, there are two main theories. First, the interdimensional theory. This suggests that these shadows are residents of a dimension right next to ours. They are always here, but we can usually only see them when our filters are down, like during sleep paralysis. The second one is the energy theory. This is darker. It suggests that these beings are parasites that feed on the frequency of human fear. They appear during paralysis because that's when we're at our most vulnerable and terrified. They aren't trying to kill us. They are eating the energy we produce when we realize we can't move. Now, the wisdom I want to leave with you tonight is about the power of our own consciousness. We live in a world that we think we fully explained with textbooks and light bulbs. But our ancestors knew better. They knew that the night holds things that we still don't fully understand. If you ever find yourself in that state of paralysis, remember, your fear is their invitation. The moment you find the discipline to stay calm, to realize that you are the master of your own mind, the shadows usually retreat. We are the gatekeepers of our own reality. We look for the truth, but we do it with our eyes wide open. Because mystery without discipline becomes misinformation. We watch the shadows, but we never let them take our peace. From my coast to yours, have a wonderful night.